No. All right. I'm gonna trade you 2 sheep for that wood. Tell me, honey, does that sound good? 'Cause all I really wanna do is take away longest road from you, yeah. Welcome to these tabletop sessions. Welcome to these tabletop sessions. Hello, fellow gregarious geeks and gamers, and welcome to the 49th episode of the Tabletop Sessions podcast. This is your monthly dose of tabletop gaming stories and shenanigans. My name is Elias, and with me today, the first Greek to remake the Olympics in his image as a board game Olympics over the Eid holidays, it's Hippocrates.
Hello, guys. This is Impo, the Impo.
How did it go?
That's my new...
Didn't you have an Olympic ceremony?
Basically, I had many friends saying that we should have a opening ceremony. And I told them this, yes, you should come with flags and everything. And then one of my friends said that we should have this torch, which is the most important part of the Olympics for the opening ceremony. And then Lena said no.
Yeah, no. Open flames in the
house.
You cannot
have a torch in my place when I'm not there.
You could have used a flashlight, maybe. That would have worked.
Yeah, but that's not really Anyway, yeah, we didn't do that.
So how did it go? All I got from your ceremony was pictures of the medal ceremonies after each game with first, second, third, and the same guy last every time for some reason. And then holding a bottle of Frangelico with a participation certificate.
It was really nice. It was we played every day for 7 days. The plan was to play 7 days of heavy board gaming every day. Some days we even played 2 games, not the same players. We're playing at the same time in 2 tables. We played Food Chain Magnate, Septima, John Company, Urgent the Consortium, Automobile, Tricerion, Hegemony, Innis, and 1830.
That is a hell of a lineup. That is a great lineup.
Isn't it? Yeah. And it was fantastic. I mean, people that were playing for the first time, they were really thrilled with the games. And as a dessert, we played a lot of Zendo. Everybody loved Zendo. We had so much laugh with Zendo. And one night we played also Blood on the Clock Tower, which is why I said I'm Ippo the Impo, because that's my new nickname now.
The Impo?
The demon in the Blood on the Clock Tower game is Imp. Yeah. So one friend of mine, she said I'm the Impo because I was like the Imp for 2 games in a row. And since then, I got that. I mean, I embraced the nickname, and now I'm playing with the Impo.
I like
We gave medals for the first, second, and third place for each game, except if you come last. If you come last, you don't get a medal in a 3-player game.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And we gave certificates to all participants. It was really fun. We had the first Olympic gold medal for Malaysia ever. Malaysia never had a gold Olympic medal, so it was the first one. And also the first for Sri Lanka.
As a Greek person, I think you have the authority to claim this as a legitimate gold medal that you're awarding. So
of course. I mean, I'm giving statistics for the Olympics right now. I'm saying
the countries of Malaysia and Sri Lanka.
Yes, the first gold medals. Malaysia won Food Chain Magnate and Hegemony, 2 gold medals.
Oh shit! What a showing! Wow. Okay.
Yeah, she's amazing. And Sri Lanka won John Company, which is appropriate because he knew the waters, of the Indian Ocean. So I guess it makes sense.
Home field advantage. Yeah.
and the most important part is that everybody loved John Company. They want to play again, and Food Chain Magnate the same. I mean, that's the whole point. And now 1830 also people want to. We're gonna play again probably on Friday. So I think mission accomplished. We have more heavy gamers that we maybe that more than what I thought we had, and I'm very happy for it.
Good. Well
We
done.
need to do it again probably next year.
Yeah, because it's been bumming me out. Like, I'm the only one talking about heavy games anymore, and you're just talking about light games and hegemony. And so it's nice to see you play some real games for a change. So, well done. I hope you get more of those because I know you've been missing them in your life. So, using the IPO Olympics as a way to like infiltrate their hearts was quite great. So, very clever. I see what you're doing, IPO. Very clever. I've had the opposite experience, which is like I've not played any games basically, except one day of games, just because I've been not well, let's say. So I had a couple of things planned. Like I had a day planned to play Too Many Bones with some friends, and another thing planned, and I ended up canceling all of them just because I was not well. So at least I did get one game day in, and we got to play a game which I'll talk about later, but also some fillers, which for me is as rare as you playing a heavy game. I never get to play fillers, so I was so excited. I got to play Biblios and Red 7, and they're just as good as I remember, and I had an awesome time. So very excited about those.
I want to ask you about Too Many Bones. I was in Facebook the other day, and the Board Game Geek Society in Facebook or something like that. And one guy asked what is the most expensive board game out there. And someone replied that he spent like $1,500 in Too Many Bones.
Yeah.
Is this possible?
Yeah. So if you want to get everything, so like they have this like thing called like the Trove box, and you can get all the characters and everything. I think that alone is you're looking at $800 for all the expansions, all the characters, all the stuff. And then if you're gonna like upgrade like the health tiles to the heavier chips, I'm assuming eventually you get to that number. So I don't see why it's not. I know my friend, the one that owns it, he spent $600-$700 on the Kickstarter or the Game Founder or whatever, which is why I just got rid of my copy, because I was like, well, this guy has everything. I'll just play with him. So but because I was not going to spend that much money on Too Many Bones, it's which is a very fun game, but not worth $1,000. Let's get clear that no game is worth $1,000.
Yeah, I mean,
and once we've made that clear, we can move on with our lives in a healthier mindset.
Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah, yeah. I ended up having to cancel that though. So, but I will get that played again and report back on it. So. I'll let you know if it's worth the money.
Of all these games I played, I wanted to talk about Tricerion, Legends of Illusion, that we played with the Dark Alley.
Oh, nice.
And basically, I just realized that Dark Alley is not actually an expansion. It's basically the advanced version of the game.
That's right, yeah.
And it was really nice. We played for like 4 players, 2 rounds, and then we realized we made a huge mistake in the rules.
Excellent.
And then we said, okay, let's play now correctly. So we played for another 2 hours, and then we realized that we did another huge mistake in the rules. So we never finished that game. In the end of the game, we were so tired and upset. I had a fight with AK.
Oh no!
And yes, we had a really good fight, and then we realized that we didn't have food for like 8 hours. So so we were both hungry and upset for the game and everything, and it came out in the game. So we didn't give medals for that game because it was an event for the Olympics. And the reason I'm saying that is because it was a Mind Class Games, the publisher. And I'm going to talk about Septima, which is the other Mind Class games that we played.
Before you do, could I ask what was the rules mess up? I'd love to know what could mess up your game that much. Yeah.
So the big one is that you need to remove the magic tricks that you are doing in the theater after using them in the in a show.
Yeah.
You need to remove them.
The tokens.
Or the opposite.
You need to remove the tokens, but not the card. Yeah.
Yes. So in the beginning, we were removing the token and the card.
Oh.
Then we realized we did a mistake, and then we were removing. Then we didn't remove anything.
That sounds.
But we should.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it fucks the game completely. Like you cannot play.
Fair enough. So anyway, either you were like, why do I have so many tricks? Or like, how do you have any tricks? That was basically your state of existence for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But we feel eager to play the game again, like when I'm back from vacation with AK. I think it's going to be the first game we're going to play. Now, about Septima. Septima is another Mind Class Games game that is, again, beautiful, like all Mind Class games. And the designer is Robin Hegedus. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Hegedus. Hegedus. But the U has... Anyway, whatever. Where in this game, you are a witch, basically. You gather resources to make potions, to heal people, to win victory points, and the game. That's basically the concept of the game. In your effort to do that, you have like 1 to 4 character cards that are other witches. Each one of them gives you some benefits. But most importantly, each one of them allows you to score one of the game objectives. So in the end of the game, if you have 4 witch cards, you're going to score 4 objectives. If you have 2, you're going to score only 2, which is huge. And basically, this was the reason that I won the game, and that was my only gold medal in this Olympics, because I'm a gold medalist. You need to know that. Because I scored 3 witches in the end, but the other player scored 2. Now, the interesting part of this game, and what is like a novelty, let's say, is that you have 9 action cards. Imagine something like Concordia, where each action card does a different thing. We all play simultaneously, face down. And when we reveal, if 2 of the players or more have played the same action, then you get a benefit. Which is strange. I mean, I have never seen this before. I might have seen the opposite. Like if you play the same as someone else, maybe you get something less.
Yeah.
Like in, what was that? Race for the Galaxy, I think.
Yeah, that sounds
to avoid.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And actually, you could like discuss with the other players and say, okay.
Enroll for the Galaxy, as an example. Enroll for the Galaxy, like, you want more phases activated. So if 2 people select the same one, then you have 1 less phase activated for that round. So this is the opposite. You're saying you want to guess what they're going to do, and instead of picking something else, so you have more, you want to match them and get some sort of bonus on it. Yes?
But to be honest, we were not guessing. We had the discussion and we're saying, okay, I'm going to do that. Is anybody with me? I want to do. Okay. And I think that's, I feel I'm not 100% sure. We just played the game once, but I feel this is how the game is intended to be played. So at some point, of course, you can say, oh yeah, I'm going with you, but you won't. The problem is that if you do that, if you go with others do the same thing, you get this more resources, more actions, whatever, you get this important benefit. But you raise suspicion in the town, because remember, you are a witch in the medieval ages. So there are certain meeples on the map called the hunters. And the hunters are hunting you. So as you raise suspicion every time you play the same card with somebody else, the hunters are going to have 1 more move in their turn. and if they reach you, you're gonna lose one witch. They're gonna catch one witch and send the witch to the court. So this is the second interesting part of the game, that yes, you can, collaborate with other players, but then you raise suspicion, then it's very hard to get resources because the hunters are always out there and you need to avoid them. There are like 4 of them, like there are many. So what I liked in this game, I loved the simultaneous action selection part and the additional benefits that it gives you. And actually, these additional benefits, these action selection cards, they give you a good dilemmas, and there is a discussion. Okay, should I do that, but AK is going to do that in this round. Maybe I should go with AK, but then I will help him too. There's so many things to think about, which is, of course, make the game AP prone. So, like, we had a friend that he was thinking a lot about, okay, what should I do? So, spoiler alert, the game took like 6 hours, I think, to finish with teaching and included. So imagine that we had a table of players next to us playing Food Chain Magnet, and they finished in half the time. So that was the thing that I didn't like about this game. I think that 6 hours was too much, but it was our first play for 2 of us. And AK has played the game before, only 2 players. So I'm not sure if it's so long or it was just us. I need to play the game again. And to be honest, the game has these tough decisions that makes you want to take more time thinking about them. The other thing that I loved in this game is that it's very, very hard. Even gathering resources is very hard. You need to be in the right season because the season makes an effect on what resources are available. You need to be in the right place because in different hexagons, different resources are available. You need to avoid the hunters. Then the hunters are moving from region to region, so you need to be where the hunters are not. And this was like my cup of tea. I think this is what I like in a game, to be hard, everything. So, conclusion, I want to play this game again. I don't want to say if it's good or bad. I think it's good, but needs to be proved.
That sounds awesome. You actually took me from having no interest in this game to actually now being a little bit more curious. Like, I don't know why when I looked at it, I was just kind of, I think I also assumed it was a lighter game for some reason. And I think the reason is AK backed it. So I just assumed that, like, no, because AK tends to like, yeah.
True, but remember AK backs all Mind Class games.
He does, that's true. I didn't think about that. But I guess my instinct was like, Also, I think I confused it with another Mind Clash game. I think around the same time Septima was out, I think they had like a light game out at the same time. I'm trying to find the name of it. And that was a lighter game. Let me see if I can find it. Astra. Wasn't Astra a lighter game? Yeah, it's a 2.14 weight on BGG. So I think I confused the two, Astra and Septima. So I thought it was a lighter game. But that sounds really interesting. And the art looks lovely. And what you said is really interesting. Hard to accomplish things and interesting decisions where you're like, do I do that? But what's the benefit for somebody else? Do I do something slightly less good for me, but it's not good for that person? I love stuff like that. So that's really cool. I'd like to try Septima as well. So well done.
Cool.
You got me engaged on it. Yeah, man. I also played a good game, but before I do, I want to talk about a few small things about stuff like that in case people are interested as well. There is a game that I've always had my eye on for ages, and because you're talking about Septima and it's getting me interested, it got me. I just traded for it. It's called Witness, which is a game by the people who did Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. And I think we all love that game in this podcast. But this one's like the mysteries are in 15 minutes, and it has this like thing where you're like whispering into each other's ears. It seemed very interesting to me at the time, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. What's his name? Quinns from Shut Up and Sit Down did a review that had me super into it, but then it was impossible to get, and it's still impossible to get the English version. You can get the German version for $30, $20, but I don't speak German and it's all words. So the English version doesn't sell for less than $100. So I was like, I'm not paying $100 for a small game. Somebody reached out to me a few days ago and was like, would you trade it for Fugitive and Artifacts Inc.? And Artifacts Inc. is fine. It's a good like 6 out of 10. And Fugitive didn't really land with Dima and I. We didn't love the deduction in it. So I was like, yeah, let's go for it. So I traded those yesterday, and I'm very excited for Witness. I also put in a pre-order for Indonesia, the Splotter game. So I'll report back on that as soon as I get
Oh my
the new
God!
edition. I'm just
I'm
going to
so
get all
happy
the
for you.
Splotters. Also, for
Indonesia,
those
man.
who are interested, another Splotter game that I've always had my eye on is called 1830 BC. And it's a Splotter game, but it's a Splotter take on 18XX. And I've always wanted to try that because I love Splotter. I love 18XX. Now, earlier this year, I mentioned it to someone I had met for the first time, and they were like, oh, there was a pre-order for that, and you missed it. And I was so sad because, like, it's so hard to get. So the other day, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I emailed the new publisher, who's All Aboard Games, and I go, I'd really like a copy. Has anyone dropped out of their pre-order that I can take on? And they replied me, and they said, no, but we're going to have another pre-order this summer. Subscribe to our newsletter, and you'll know when that is. So for anyone who's interested in getting that game, because it's very hard to get one, 1830 BC, look out for a pre-order again this summer in case you're sad you missed that one. So
wow, nice.
We're bringing knowledge and information to the masses. So
speaking about Splotter games, I want to say that after playing Food Chain Magnate, 2 of the players ordered the game. One of them ordered directly from the publisher, and the other from the Kickstarter, which is the new edition, I think.
Yeah. The prettier version, on GameFound. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Too expensive though, that version. But I like the old art better. I like the look of it. So I would go for the cheaper one if you like the art as well.
The card holder is the only thing from the new version that I like. That
you can buy a card holder on the BGG store. And,
yes, you can do that.
And it's like $10, like, or $15.
Yeah, because like the cards in this game cover half of the table.
True. I think you can get one of those. It's like a foldy thing. It sits in the cover of the box, and it holds all the cards up like vertically. So it only takes the footprint of the box, which isn't very big. So, but yeah, all good stuff. All I can say about that is Food Chain Magnate is in my top 10. It's my number 10, and it's my 3rd favorite Splotter. So take from what you want about how good Splotter games are, but there you go.
Spoilers for our top 50.
I got 2 more coming, and I've been trying to get a trade for Roads and Boats, but the guy's just ignoring me. Like I see that he's coming online on BGG. He's just not answering my messages. It's quite rude. Like you could just say no, and that's way better. But anyway.
So if you are a listener, please reply to Elias.
Please reply to me. I feel rejected. But yeah, I got to play a game that I was very excited about that I picked up recently. Age of Innovation, designed by Helge Ostertag, published by Feuerlandspiel and Capstone Games, and released in 2023. Do you know this game, Ipo? Have you played it?
I have seen the box, and I wanted to play it because it's Capstone, and I feel that whatever is Capstone games, it fits me. But that's all I know.
It should have another name, which is, I think, what they should have sold it under, Terra Mystica Second Edition,
Ah,
because it's Terra Mystica. But for some reason, they didn't want to call it that. So, for those who don't know, Terra Mystica came out. It's a beautiful game. Um, and then they made like a space, more complicated, more variable version called Gaia Project, which I would say 9 out of 10 people think that is superior to Terra Mystica, which I can see. Personally, I always preferred Terra Mystica, but more on that later. And then they made like a beginner version called Terra Nova, which is for like intro to Terra Mystica almost. And then they made Age of Innovation, which has weight a weight rating on BGG of 4.23 out of 5. And I'm here to tell you that that is certifiably insane. Whoever rated this game that heavy should have a mental evaluation. And if that's you, you should do that. If you're a listener, I'm not going to apologize for it. This is not a heavy game. Like, it's a medium weight at best. And the people rating it heavier than Virgin Queen, like, something's wrong with you. Anyway, and I just think it has that symptom of like, it's a game that mainstream gamers play, but they're not used to it. So maybe we can figure out a way to measure that in the future, but I just think it's a side effect or symptom that we're going to have to deal with. So I thought this game was more different than Terra Mystica than what it was. Now that I played it, I have to say that I don't see a need to own both games. And only one of them is going to stay in my collection. And stay tuned to find out why.
Oh, I like that.
And not because one is bad. Like Terra Mystica, I want to remind everyone, is an 8.5 out of 10 for me, which is, if you know me, in my top 15. So that's really high. If you know Terra Mystica, you could probably jump about 30 seconds to 1 minute now. But basically, just a quick description of the game. If you don't know Terra Mystica, you are a faction that can only build on one terrain type, desert, forest, whatever. And so what you have to do is you have to terraform land around you to match the land that you want to build on. You have to build on it. You have to upgrade those buildings. You have to upgrade your ability to terraform and how you build. You have to upgrade your income so you get more tools and workers and so on every turn. And that's it. And every round out of 6 rounds, the game's played in 6 rounds, you score a different thing, and it's variable every time. And at the end of the game, you score for basically having the largest contiguous area in which you've built in. And you also score for your position on 4 tracks. In Terra Mystica, they're the cult tracks. In Age of Innovation, they're the science tracks. But that's the basic description of all Terra Mystica games. That even gets you a lot of Gaia Project sort of covered. But what I want to focus on are the differences. And honestly, for the most part, are good differences. The main difference, I would say, is, so in Terra Mystica, you have, say, the sand people. So for the ones who can build on the desert terrain, it's a 2-sided board. So on one side you have the fakirs, on one side you have the nomads, right? And that's it. If you play nomad or fakirs, they're always going to build on the desert, and you can never play both nomads and fakirs in the same game because only one person can get that board. In Age of Innovation, you match basically a terrain type with a faction. And so at the beginning of the game, you lay out all the terrain types and you randomly deal out faction types to those terrain types. So
nice.
you might have like desert illusionists, but next time they might be forest illusionists, right? And you get an ability for the starting ability from the or just an ability for the terrain and an ability for the faction. So it's a different combination every time. And it also means that, you can get any combination of factions in the game. You don't have to always like exclude one by selecting the other. And I really like this. I think this is clever. And they didn't really sacrifice on the board because what they did is they had double layer boards, and once you get your faction, you just slide that into your board, so it's nice and smooth. It's not like they've replaced your boards with a bunch of cards or anything to make this modularity possible. It's still just one board in which you track everything, and it has all your abilities on there. And they did a really good job with that, and I really like that. So
Is the map
um,
modular?
the map is no, it's double sided.
Okay.
But but in a sense it is, because you're never getting the same faction with the same terrain. So just because I've played illusionists does and I play them on the forest doesn't mean that next time I play forest I'll have the same strategy, because next time I play forest I might be the cat people or whatever they're called if you
Basically, you
want.
don't
So
need the modular board because you have the
exactly.
variable
Yeah.
faction. Yeah.
But they have a double-sided board, so it's one side for 1 to 3 players, and the other side for 4 or 5 players. Um, so there's a bit of like sort of contraction and stuff, and that's another thing that's different from Terra Mystica. Base Terra Mystica only played 2 to 4, and this one plays 1 to 5, like Gaia Project. So it gives you a little more ability to get it to the table. That being said, we played with 4. Um, Another thing is in Terra Mystica, you had this like the 4 cult tracks. Before going to the very last space on each track, you had to have a town available, which gave you a key, and then you were able to get to that last spot. They've basically taken those keys and dropped them down about 3 places on the tracks, and that made a bigger difference than I anticipated. It means that like you can't just overtake someone on a track. You have to usually have a available town to overtake someone. So if you don't grab an early lead on a track, it's more costly. You can't just spend your actions at the end of the game to overtake them and just get through. So I like that. It made a difference in your decision making. But the biggest sort of difference in the gameplay is they've added these things called books and innovations to the game. So books are a resource, the same way in Terra Mystica you had workers and money. In Age of Innovation you have tools and money. They've also added books, and books come in different colors, and you can collect these books by doing various actions. And once you get those books, you can you can get rid of a particular combination of books to gain an innovation. And an innovation is a rather large effect. Like either it's an ongoing effect, or it's like you get to build a neutral building. So a building that comes from off, not your board, but from the supply. And some of these buildings are unique and do different things. So it actually added a lot of strategic change, because if you know Terra Mystica, you know there's a lot of interlocking elements. Like you want to do this, you want to build this temple so that you can get this ability, so that you can go up on the power thing, so that you can get enough power in bowl 3, so that you can, spend that on this action. And yeah, that's kind of how it works. But now add like a lot more to that. So that was great. It was also AP inducing for the first time, but you can definitely get used to the system, and same way you did to Terra Mystica. Um,
I want to say that
so
also Terra Mystica can be also AP if you're playing for the first time and you're trying
sure,
to combine
yeah,
everything.
exactly. I mean, Terra Mystica, once you've played it a dozen times or so, that it becomes much quicker because you kind of know what to do with your characters, and that's the case. And I think Age of Innovation tackles that somewhat by, you can't just do like the Darkling strategy with Terra Mystica. The only way they figured out how to compensate for the fact that people figured out how to break the game with the Darklings was to do these point advantages in the beginning. So like handicaps. I don't like that because I don't play anything sort of like that competitively that I would need to put in a point thing. But you could feel the difference when you played against experienced players. So the point difference was kind of necessary. But with this game, I feel like as of now, there's no need for that, especially that I've only got 1 or 2 plays in it as well. So um, my thoughts on the game overall is I like it a lot, because how could I not? It's Terra Mystica. Like Terra Mystica is one of my top 15 games ever. It's an 8.5, and this is an improved version, in my opinion, of Terra Mystica. Um, but then you could say, what about Gaia Project? That was also an improved version of Terra Mystica. I'm not going to talk about Terra Nova because I don't care about that. So let's those 3 games. Like, what would I recommend? I guess most people would recommend Gaia Project. And I think when it comes to like the fact that it has a modular map and it's more thematic in the sense of how you build your civilization. Um, I think a lot of people would recommend Gaia Project, and I wouldn't tell you no on that, but I will tell you, if you understand what I'm about to say, then you already sort of agree with me. If you just want a game based on, is it designed better? Is it more like sort of a better game in terms of like balancing and stuff? It's probably Gaia Project is the best of the three. But for me, Gaia Project lost the heart of Terra Mystica. Terra Mystica was a game that every time I pulled it on the table, there was a bit of warmth with it. Like I felt like the game, and that could be based on when I learned the game, the part, like sort of where it happened in my game journey. I'm not discrediting that. I'm sure people who play Terra Mystica now don't have that experience, but there was heart to Terra Mystica. It was like you had your favorite factions, you had your favorite, like the factions sort of had like a lot of character to them, and it was different than generic fantasy, and it felt good. There was a warmth to the game. There was heart to the game. And when I played Gaia Project, I felt like they left all the heart on Earth, and we just had like the cold dark of space left for it. Like
Ooh.
I had no affection for my factions. I felt like it was a more generic game than Terra Mystica was. And the proof of that is I've never walked away from a Terra Mystica game sort of. I always have a good memory of a Terra Mystica game. With Gaia Project, I walked away from it not having a bad experience, having had a great time, but immediately forgot the little things about it that made me have a nice time. It was just a good Euro, not Terra Mystica or not Gaia Project. It loses a little bit of that. I know you're part computer and your brain, so you don't understand what I'm saying, but
No,
I'm just trying to get.
so correct me if I'm wrong. What I understand is that Gaia Project is more smooth, maybe is applying to a bigger audience, and Terra Mystica is more cutthroat, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know if it's more cutthroat. I would say it just felt like the character came out more in the way the game played out and the way that sort of every time I played Terra Mystica, I walked away being like, oh, like I had a really like nice time playing Terra Mystica. Whereas with Gaia Project, I'm like, oh, that was a fun game or that was a good game. But the identity of the game became more generic. Whereas Terra Mystica has always been unique to me. It's not, for me, it's not like a generic Euro, right? So what I have to say about all this is Age of Innovation keeps that from Terra Mystica. So because of that, to me, Age of Innovation is the best of the three. Because it's Terra Mystica second edition, revised edition, without losing its soul, the way that Gaia Project did. And if you don't get it, you never will. And that's okay. My friend Carol, every time I say that Gaia Project to me doesn't have soul, he looks at me like I'm speaking some sort of language. and I get it. And I don't blame you for thinking that. And I do think that purely design-wise, Gaia is probably better. But if you understand what I'm saying, then then to you, I'm telling you, Age of Innovation is the best of the three, because it's Terra Mystica second edition.
So for our listeners, what I understand is that Terra Mystica is like your first love, and
yes,
Gaia Project is like a model, a very beautiful or handsome person that you see in the street, and you say, "Oh, this is fantastic," but you're not in love with it, with him or her.
Yeah.
And Age of Innovation is your child that you have with your first love.
No, Age of Innovation is when you randomly, after you've broken up with the model and you're down on yourself because she's left you for someone else, you run into your old love again, and you see that like the connection you had with her was never going to be replicated with that model. So that's it's your first love that you ran into again, and you're reconnecting on a level that's
it's your first love again. Oh, okay.
It's your first love again, but she's older and wiser.
Oh, I thought it's like your child with your first love. So you love it in a different way. You will still love your first love.
The child is Terra Nova. The child is Terra Nova because it's a children's game. But anyway, Now I'm keeping Age of Innovation and I'm trading away Terra Mystica. And the reason is, honestly, if you have Terra Mystica, you probably just keep that. But the reason I'm doing that is because for the first time in my life, I tipped a beer over on the game. I knocked
What?
over a Sapporo, and a
Oh.
few of the tiles got soaked in beer. So they're
Oh.
starting to fray at the edges. So I don't want to trade that away because I feel bad to trade that to anyone. So it's usable, it's functional, it looks fine.
Yeah.
It's just a little fraying on the edges, but it pushed my hand in a certain direction. Terra Mystica is in perfect condition. Age of Innovation, which I might have liked a little more, got a little damaged. So it's more of like, you know what? I'll just
Oh.
keep Age of Innovation, and I'll get rid of Terra Mystica.
Oh.
So that's my review. It's at least an 8.5 for me because that's what Terra Mystica is. Maybe a bit higher, even in its Sapporo beer soaked state. I love it, and I'm really glad that I picked it up, and that I reconnected with my childhood love.
Wow, that was one of the best reviews, I think, and it reminded me of so many things. I have played Terra Mystica, I think 2 or 3 times, the physical copy, and another like 40 times in Board Game Arena. And
Yeah.
it's such an excellent game for people that have
It
never
really
played
is.
it. It's really recommended. All right.
Wonderful game.
So that was Age of Innovation. And after that, it's time for part 3 of our top 50 games of all time, isn't it?
Yes, it is time for our top 50 games of all
Yay.
time. And cue the music, ladies and gentlemen. Cue the music.
So I want to say that it's funny. In my notes, I say that explain to our listeners about the top 50 and the method we're using. I don't remember the method we're using. I remember we made both of us. Okay, I will tell you what I remember. Okay, and then you will add to that. So we both made the top 60 in order to make a combined top 50 for the number 50 episode. That is the next one, and we're gonna celebrate by having Dima, that she's going to give us the top 20. But the method was that we assigned points to our 1 to 60 games, and then Dima made the calculations and added these points and made a combined top 50. But I don't remember how many points we assigned to number 1 and number 60 of our games.
I believe it started at 100 points and just went 1 point down for every.
So from 40 to 100. 100 for number 1 and 40 to number 6. Okay, that makes sense. So this is...
So on that, so basically on the note, sort of, we did that. Dima put together our lists. We don't know them. She's giving to us 10 at a time. You should listen to the last 2 episodes 47 and 48, where you'll listen to numbers 50 to 41 and 40 to 31, respectively. Today, we're going to be doing number 30 to 21, but I do want to do one more caveat to get you excited and pumped up for episode 50, in which we'll be doing the whole episode, our top 20 of all time. Dima will be on, and we don't know our top 20 of all time. And she will be on, and what she will be doing initially is being the tiebreaker for every time we've had from number 50 to 20 to 21.
Do we want to do that?
She will be the tiebreaker for every... Yes, there's only like 9 of them, so it won't take that long.
No,
so
I mean, do we want the
Dima
to be our tiebreaker? Are you feel comfortable about it?
Yes. Yeah, we do. So 50 to 21 will be tiebreakers. So we'll do that, and then we'll give you a quick rundown of like 50 to 21, and then Dima will surprise us with the order of our top 20, which both Ipo and I do not know, so we're very excited about hearing in which order everything fell, and even more excited after seeing this week's top 10, 30 to 21, because I believe both our number ones were in there, weren't they, Ipo?
Oh. I mean, I know my number 1 is there.
90% sure.
Oh.
Yeah, and I know mine is.
Now I know.
All Well, let's just jump right in, and I can get things started because this is a game probably it's mostly high up because of me, and we'll get started with our number 30 of all time, The Great Zimbabwe,
Oh,
which is a Splatterspellen game, and that is our number 30. And to me, the second best Splatter I've ever played. And one of the best things about it is it's quite short. You can play it in 2-3 hours, and it's this brilliant game of like spatial reasoning and sort of developing um, onto a shared map and being able to like provide the resources needed to upgrade and build different things. I don't make it sound very exciting, but then you use like sort of professionals and gods to help you to gain that, and it's just really supremely well designed. And it's the splatter game I will most likely want to play at any point because my favorite's Antiquity, but that's a half a day, you know. And Food Chain Magnate's great, and that's maybe 3-4 hours, but I actually prefer the Great Zimbabwe to Food Chain Magnate for the amount of game you get for the time. And again, they're all in my top 10 here, but but for me, the Great Zimbabwe is a touch better, and I adore it. So I'm really glad it's in the top 30. Ipo, I know we played Great Zimbabwe online, but have you played this game in
no,
person or
and
no?
it was not a good experience online. I couldn't. I mean,
No, because there was some issues with
yeah,
it. So
it was not
we came across some
the
bugs, I
platform
think.
had a problem, and
Yeah,
yeah, I want to
yeah,
play it so much. It's the first Splotter Spellen game that we have in our top 50, and
that's right.
it's number 335 in Board Game Geek, and it was published in 2012. So it's not a very old game, and I need to play, but
No, I
it's very
mean,
hard to find, isn't it?
yeah, I picked up a copy. I got a good price. It's they've been doing more reprints recently, Splatter. So you just got to keep your eye out for pre-orders on their website, and you can usually get it. But their games are unreasonably expensive, and part of that is the size of these print runs are very small. So
Do you feel it's the easiest game to
um,
teach from Splotter Spellen?
yes. So I have 4 Splatter games and 2 on pre-order. Um, and of those that I've read the rules, this is the easiest one to teach, but also one of the best decision trees. So, like, whilst Antiquity is probably the best game for me overall for Splatter, um, I find that like the Great Zimbabwe, there's less decisions over the course of the game just because it's shorter and you have less actions, but they're super impactful. And I tend to like games like that where you have less decisions. Like in the Year of the Dragon, you're making like 6 decisions in the whole game, or 12 decisions actually in the whole game, but they're massive, right? And the Great Zimbabwe has that character to it, and I really like it. I've won it, I've lost it, I've played it several times, and I think it's one of those that will always stick in my collection. So I think, yeah,
What was your ranking in the top 60?
I don't know exactly what my ranking is. I don't have it open, but it is in my top 10.
No, no
It's in my
worries.
top 10. So that's for sure.
Oh,
It's
okay.
probably like
That,
eight,
that's what I want to
eight
know.
or so around that number. So yeah, uh,
It's not in my top 60 because I have not played it, and I really want to play it.
it's terrific.
And I think the same goes to also number 29. It's not in my top 60 because I have not played the physical copy, so I didn't have the chance to really enjoy the game. So, anyways, the first one that I was talking about is Sekigahara, which is a war game by GMT, and it's our third GMT game in this top 60. Uh, but it's number 6 war game in Board Game Geek.
Okay, just because I'm
So
confused and
it's
I literally
it,
have it in front of me, I'm going to do this for the audience because he was not. So our next 2 are tied for number 28. So our number 29 and number 28 are Sekigahara, The Unification of Japan, and Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory, which is probably the
yay!
newest game on the list, I think. So, um, or up there for sure.
Might be.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us why Hegemony's on here, Ipo? Because I'm yet to play it.
Yeah, how is this possible? I mean, there's nobody there with.
No, my friend has it.
With headset.
To be honest with
Oh.
you, Ipo, as soon as I saw it get into like the top 50, I kind of lost interest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you have that
When a
problem.
game becomes mainstream,
you
I'm
need-
like, all right,
that-
I'll leave it for them. Like, I don't need to tell people about it. So it's like my goal to find hidden gems and talk about those. So, yeah.
Yeah, you have this problem that you need to talk about with your therapist. It's okay. So Hegemony is a game. You're right. It's 2023. I mean, I got it only last year. I don't even remember. Yeah, I got it last spring. I have it for 1 year now, and it's on 75 ranking in Board Game Geek. So yes, yeah. I mean, it's kind of mainstream, you can say, but the theme it's so not mainstream because you're basically playing a class that could be the working class, the middle class, or the capitalists. And as the theory goes, you're clashing with each other. And when you play a 4-player game, there's also the state that tries to balance everything out. The theme is so cool, and basically what you're doing in the game is that the working class is trying to send their people to work in the companies that the capitalists and the middle class are making. And by getting food and welfare and luxury goods, they're trying to improve their lives, and this is how they score points. The capitalists, on the other hand, they score points by accumulating wealth. And the middle class is something in the middle. They both try to get a better life for their members, but they're doing so by opening their own companies and working in them. Also working for the capitalists sometimes, or opening companies for the working class. The amazing and most important part of the game for me is the laws, where every turn, in the end of every turn, after doing 5 actions, I think it's one of you, you vote on or suggest new laws that could be from minimum wage. So if you have like high minimum wage, this is in favor of the working class, where you have very low minimum wage, it's in favor of the capitalists. Or taxation, which can really mess up the capitalists if it's very high. You can go for free education or free welfare, which means that basically the state pays for that. So that means that increases the taxation. So it's against the capitalists' needs. And this is such an amazing experience to balance this out and trying to see what is most important for you each round, and in what cases you should use all your might to stop something from happening, or just fall back and pick your battles. It's an amazing experience. Every time I played it, I had a blast. And we were thinking in my group that the middle class was somehow most hard to win with. But yeah, last time the middle class won, like, easily. So I think it's a very well and balanced game, and everybody should try it at some point.
Wonderful.
Hegemony.
I will try it at some point. We have planned to play it multiple times, and it's just not worked out. And to be honest, I don't think I'm pushing it hard enough. But that's okay. I'm getting to play other games that I like. But Sekigahara is, to me, as of now, the best 2-player war game there is. And honestly, I think in my rankings would be the best 2-player game you can play. And now it's kind of in vogue again because everyone's talking about Shogun, that show, which I haven't watched it yet, but I have watched the old version. So if you like Shogun, play Sekigahara. But the theme is basically sort of like the Battle of Succession in Japan. After sort of the death of an emperor, the emperor's son is very young, so sort of like a council of daimyo and supporters are built around them, and they're led by Ishida, I think. Um, and on the other side, you have Tokugawa, and he's sort of like leading against the established sort of emperor and the daimyo that have built this council around him. And the game is actually really beautifully and Spartan in the way it looks. Like it's a beautifully Spartan map, and you have these blocks with with like symbols on one side simulating fog of war, where you can see where all your troops are, and they know you have troops in places, but they don't know what troops you have in places. And it's this lovely game with this awesome like battle mechanic where the combination of blocks and cards like multiply off of each other depending on the symbols on them to create what's called impact. And whoever has the most impact will deal a certain amount of damage. So you both deal damage to each side based on the impact that you do. So it's actually a really clever combat system that has no dice. And it's all about trying to figure out where to go and how to. And it also has an awesome loyalty system where you can challenge the loyalty of certain daimyos to their side. And the loyalty challenge can be refuted. It can also lead to certain troops abandoning in the heat of battle. And it's very clever. It's not a card that's like, oh, and now you lose this battle, betrayal. No, it's actually clever. And you have to like figure out how much you want to, when to use it, and if your people can sort of withstand that loyalty challenge at that time. It's really wonderful, really brilliant. I've had so many good experiences where like I've used sort of like deduction of how the armies are moving to figure out where Ishida actually is, like when I'm playing Tokugawa, and like sort of like surrounding Ishida with two armies, or like catching them on the Tokaido and like with two armies on either side. Because if you can take out Ishida or Tokugawa, vice versa, you can end the game without having to go all the way to the end. And I've used that in some cases and actually found Ishida by figuring out how my opponent is moving their armies. And that's such a cool thing. It really gives you the feeling of moving armies on a map, like on a real battle table in like the medieval age, and I can't recommend it more. And I do think if you played it in person and not just online, you would have a similar perspective of the game. But yeah, Sekigahara, the unification of Japan, and Hegemony, lead your class to victory, tied for our number 28 game of all time. Ipo, the next two are a tie as well. Would you like to give those to us?
Yeah, let me first say that Sekigahara is our first two-player head-to-head game, I think, in our top 50.
No, Twilight Struggle. We've had Twilight Struggle.
We had Twilight Struggle?
We did.
Oh, we did.
Would you like me to tell you? Yeah. We've had Teshkalar, which is a head-to-head game. We've had Twilight Struggle, which is tied for number 43. We've had War of the Ring, which was tied for 43.
So you know, do you remember when I said this is the first two-player game we had to get? So forget about it. It's not. So the next two games that are tied are Maid's Night and 1830. So I guess you are the person to talk about Maid's Night, so I'm gonna talk about 1830. 1830 is an 18xx game. Is a railways corporations economic game where you play with stocks and you buy stocks from other companies and other players, but actually the companies are not belonging to the other players, or maybe they belong for some time until you get more shares than them, and then they become your companies. So I love this kind of games. I love 18xx games. From the ones that I have played, 1830 is the best for stock manipulation and at the same time accommodating 5 players. So I think this is the reason I love it most. Also, I think it's the first one. It was published in 1986.
It's the second,
second one.
Yeah.
Which one is the first?
1829. Actually.
Real by Francis Tresham again?
Yeah.
Same
also
guy?
Francis Tresham.
Or,
yeah.
Uh, so if you love this type of games, I think it's a must. We
Yep.
played it in the Olympics in the last day. The game we said we're gonna start like 1 p.m. and we started like 3, I think, and it finished like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it's a really long game, but we played like 5 players, and because we're gonna play it again in 2 days, I prepared an Excel sheet where now I'm ready to really, speed up the process of giving
Running the trains.
dividends, giving dividends and everything. And I feel this will help a lot.
Great.
Uh,
Yeah, it's really good. And you're right about the stock manipulation. I don't think it's supposed to be the best one. I think there are games that are more focused on the finances. I can't remember 1822 or something like that. But I do really like the penny stocks concept in 1830 and so on. And you're right, it works very well for the number of players. Um, for me, it's kind of on the same level as 1889 Shikoku, because 1889 is the same rule set essentially, but the map is much tighter. Very small, very terrain heavy, tons of mountains, super aggressive map. Like you can lock yourself out really badly on that one. So, but Shikoku I like with less players, maybe 3 players, maximum 4. So I would actually say on this note, if you like 1830, great if you have 5 players. If you have Shikoku as well, and you have less players, 3 players, 4 players, I would go 1889 Shikoku with a very similar rule set. But very good. No issues with this being on there. It made my top 60 for sure. I don't know where it was, but it was somewhere on that top 60.
it's in my
Mage
top
Knight.
10.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mage Knight, which is probably in my top 3 or 4, is this beautiful Vladar Vato game where you're like managing a hand of cards to play your Mage Knight. You're definitely the bad guy in the game, and you're basically just there's different game modes. You could do conquest where you have to storm the castle, you know what I mean? Or you could do like Druid Knights, or you could do different things where you have different goals. I have this game and all the expansions for it, and whenever the next expansion comes out, I'll get that. I also have the Star Trek version of this game. That's how much I like it. I just want more ways to play it. It is in the Mount Rushmore, the S tier of solo gaming. As far as solo games go, this is at the very top of the peak, right? So it is the best solo game, I think, or one of the best. But it's also really good at 2 players or even 3. Just maybe instead of doing a full conquest like you would with solo, do a blitz conquest, and you can play that in like 4 or 5 hours. Really, I did it with 3 players with 2 new players, blitz conquest in like 5 hours. So it's very doable. Solo, you can get a full conquest in like 3 hours. It's really good. It's always a puzzle in your hand, and you got to figure out how to accomplish the things you want to do with the things that are available to you. And for that, it'll always be one of my favorite games because it's a puzzle at all times. Mage Knight and 1830 tied for our number 26 of all time.
So it's Vlad again. So Vlad Akhvatvil, which is one of our favorite designers. And I remember we played it once, 2 players. It took a lot of time, like I don't remember, like 5 hours playing it. So
We
it was
played
very interesting.
3 players, and one of them was Eric, who's the most AP player I've ever met. So just keep that in mind when you're.
Yeah, so it was very interesting for me. I wanted you to say, like, what do you think is the best for Mage Knight? Is it to play it solo? Is it to play it cooperative? Is it to play against each other, 2 players, maybe 3 players? What do you
1 to
think
2.
it's the category?
Well, it's a great
1 to
solo
2?
game. No, it's just a great solo game, but I love playing with other players. I would say 2 to 3. Play a shorter conquest, a shorter scenario like Blitz Conquest or Druid Knights. Don't do the full conquest, and don't do PvP. So no player versus player combat allowed. Not cooperative. So you are going for the person with the most fame to win the game, but don't play cooperative because the PvP combat adds like 3 hours to the game. So just play without
Wow.
PvP, play competitive for the most fame, and do one of the shorter scenarios like Blitz Conquest, and it's excellent, 2-3 players, and solo. But I kind of consider them different things, solo and 2-3.
What I remember is that when you were explaining to me the mechanisms, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
Like,
it's awesome.
what? It's awesome. It's awesome design.
So
That's
we've
all I
had,
wanted to say about Mage Knight.
yeah, no, and thank you for that. I appreciate, because you haven't played it enough, but I do think you would love it because it takes the things that I love about, say, Gloomhaven, like the puzzle in your hand, and it amplifies that. The puzzle's much better in Mage Knight than it is in Gloomhaven. So, moving on. We've had 2 ties in a row, and we have one more tie. That's the bad news, but the good news is that I believe this will be the last tie, and I have a very good reason for that. I think we've been tying in the past when you like a game and I don't, or like I like a game and you haven't played it, or vice versa, because it's on my list and your list and really high up. So it's just tied that way. It's not on the other person's. But I believe this next tie is both our number ones. And if I'm right about that, that means that every game from this point on is very highly ranked for both me and you. And that means that we're not going to have any more ties moving forward. This is my understanding of what's happening. So basically, the
That's
next
amazing what you said. Now everything makes sense.
tie, which is our tie for number 24, so our number 25-24 of all time. My favorite game of all time, Virgin Queen from GMT. And what I've just figured out is Ipo's favorite game of all time, Blood on the Clock Tower. Really? Favorite game of all time? I'm shocked and amazed.
Right now, okay. So on 26th of June, 2024, for me, my favorite game of all time is Blood on the Clock Tower.
Wow.
We have played it so much. Remember, I loved Avalon Resistance.
Yeah, you used to always want to play it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Secret Identity game. It was one of my top 5 games, Avalon. So this game is Avalon on steroids. So, like, it's like 3 levels up from Avalon. I was thinking today, I was driving actually today, and I was thinking that it's one of the games that if you don't know about, if I didn't know about it, like in another universe, I would be very sad. Like, it's a game made for me. I love party games. I love secret identity games. I love what they bring to the table. And this is a game where you can actually do deduction, but at the same time, you have incomplete information, and it's always about having fun with other people. So you can combine both. It's right now it's Board Game Geek's number 1 party game. It used to be the Crypto, but now it's Blood on the Clock Tower. And I think we have a very nice also story to say about Blood on the Clock Tower, like 2017 Essen.
I think they're still waiting for us, right?
Yeah, where we booked a place for they were showcasing the game, and I think me and you, we said, okay, it's a nice idea, let's go and book. And
we booked it.
They said, okay, but you can only come like 8:00 in the morning tomorrow. We said, yeah, we can do it.
Yeah,
and we couldn't.
Well, like the guys we were with didn't wake up
go
on
to the
time.
bakery and have croissants and stuff like that. I will always blame AK about this. I don't remember who else. Maybe Hamad was also late.
And we couldn't ditch them because we couldn't find hotels in Essen. So we actually booked in a town over. So we all needed to go in the car. We rented like a minivan to go together. So we couldn't just ditch them and just go to the convention, because I would have, because it makes no sense that we booked and didn't show up. I'm always upset about that, but it is funny. I haven't tried it yet, which is a shame. But I told you my group here doesn't play party games at all, really. So, but one day, maybe when I come to visit Qatar, one day we can schedule one when I'm there.
No, I'm sure there is a Toronto Blood on the Clock
Yeah,
Tower
but
group
I don't
that
want
you
to play
can
with
fight
people I
and
don't.
join.
I don't want to play with people I don't know. I've never liked that. I've always hated it. But
But
maybe
it's an
like
excellent way to meet people and
I know
make
enough
new friends.
people. I know enough people. I'm good. But
That,
maybe if I'm
what an
visiting,
old you're an old guy now.
maybe if when I
I
come to
know
visit,
enough.
you can arrange something with some friends. But we'll talk about it when that comes. All right. I'm very amazed. I mean, you knew what my number one was. So, and I know it's not in
But
your
before
top
going
60.
there,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that in the last week, I found out that in YouTube there are some people that are playing Blood on the Clock Tower, and they're recording and like in a professional way. So I'm watching that like every day. It's like 2.5 hours sessions.
Okay. All right.
I'm in
You
another
really
level.
miss your family, I think, is what's happening. You need
And the game also has infinite replayability because remember Avalon had some characters in play. So they're giving you new characters, like they're testing new characters all the time and they're providing new characters with new abilities that you can add to your game and to your scripts. It's like an
okay.
endless
Okay, Impo, we get it. We get it. It's a great game.
yes, that was
Impo.
for me for the Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yeah. So I know you don't have Virgin Queen up there, and I totally understand why. But let me just read to you what I wrote and on BGG after the second time I played Virgin Queen, which is before I met you, before I played it with you, or I played it twice with Simon and a bunch of people. And this is what I wrote. Where do I begin? This is so much more than a war game. Thematically, it interweaves a beautiful adventure filled with royal marriages, piracy, colonization, circumnavigation, and adventure on the high seas, political intrigue and assassinations, and patronizing talented people to bring you honor and prestige. From a gameplay perspective, for all its complexity, the turn could not be simpler. Play a card for its event or for the point value to perform a variety of different actions. Each faction gives you a unique perspective on how to play the game. The decisions of declaring war can be agonizing and take a toll on you. This game is a masterpiece, thematically and gameplay-wise. When I play Virgin Queen, I think about the game for the next 2 weeks nonstop and what I could have done differently, and more importantly, about the incredible story that 6 players created together. And that's still true. Because the last time we played, and that was online, we played, remember, all of us from different countries and stuff. Between the first and second sessions, I was looking at maps of I was thinking okay, if I negotiate for piracy to happen in this area, I can focus. But I was thinking grand strategy for a week between the 2 plays, and I could not stop thinking about it. And just like all grand strategy, there's a lot of luck at times, but for the most part, if your strategy is good, you will do well in this game. And I think it's wonderful because of that. And my comment, I think, says it all. So I get that you don't like the luck aspects, the complexity, how long it takes. But for me, this is the epitome of why I play board games. The level of strategy is not obvious. It's grand. It's vague at times. It's opaque at times. Sometimes luck isn't in your favor, but you can overcome it. You negotiate. And when you walk away, you just had a real adventure. And it's awesome because of that.
I want to say I had an excellent experience playing this game. I think we tried to play it twice. Game, the board is amazing. I love the map. Yeah. And also, I love the theme, which is the medieval ages. Each player has like the papacy or the Ottomans or the English or the Spanish Armada and stuff like that. It's not that I don't like, is that I find a problem with the game is that it has so many rules and so many exceptions on the rules that it's I think it's best played with 5 players or 6.
6.
And it's very hard to find, for me at least, with the current group or when we were playing together, to find 6 dedicated players to learn the game. And even if you find them,
yeah.
then we need to play the game at least 2 or 3 times in order to understand what's going on. You cannot enjoy the game from the first time you're playing it. That's my feeling for this game. And you cannot appreciate
if you get people that
the
are
game.
willing to meet twice, what you can do is first time you can play like one round as a teaching thing where you all learn how it goes. Then instead of playing the full 8-round or was it 7-round game, you can play the competitive scenario, which I believe is just 3 rounds. So you can do that, and you start a little bit more set up, and there's already some like espionage happening, so it adds that element to the game, because usually you have to wait till round 3 for that. So there is ways to do it, but if you want, eventually you can always do the full game, which is a much more epic experience, but you can get a great experience with the competitive version as well. But yeah, that's great. So there you go. And I believe that will be our last tie in our top 50. And so Dima will be here next week to break all 9 ties we've had so far. Hopefully all in my favor, what I prefer. But I doubt that's the case, just based on like some of the games that are on there. She's definitely going your way on some of them.
Okay, so
which is why she's fair and balanced.
So note, Dima has to play Blood of the Clock Tower before our next session.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
I will text you a Toronto group right now.
So, yeah, let's move on to our number 23, Paul.
Number 23, Kingdoms Redux. See what I did there? Okay, that was a joke. The game is Three Kingdoms Redux, which is basically I think the best 3-player game out there, or one of the best if we don't want to go too far. The theme, I think it's the Chinese generals fighting each other, and it's a strictly 3-player game, which is so well balanced. It's
based on the Three Kingdoms era of Chinese history, and but a lot of the characters, the generals in it, are based on the Three Kingdoms romance, which is a Chinese classic novel. But the history is based on the Three Kingdoms era in China.
And it's a Euro, right? It's a
100%
worker placement game, but it tackles so well the 3 players problem, where if I attack one guy, the third person is getting the benefits. And it's amazing. It's highly recommended. It's also in Board Game Geek. It's 1198. Its ranking,
ridiculous.
Which means that it's a hidden gem.
Yeah,
and it's 10 years old. It was published in 2014.
You know, the thing that's amazing about it, it's a Euro. It's breaks through worker placement, but each of your workers is unique. Like each general is unique. And it's a Euro, like you said. And yes, I think for us in our combined list, this is the highest 3-player game you can get. I have it around the same level as Vijayanagar, but honestly, they're so different that depending on what you want to play, like you can't be in the mood for both those games at the same time. They're very different. But I love what you said, which is it tackles the issue of ganging up on someone, and it does it by forcing you to gang up on someone. So, because the way the game works is whoever is second and third are forced into like an alliance for the round, not a full alliance, but it means in one worker placement spot. Because the way worker placement works here is when I take a spot, you can still come there, and then we'll have an auction on it, a bid basically, to see who gets it. On one spot, the 2 people that are allied to whoever's in second and third place can combine their strength in that auction and both get the benefit of the spot. So it basically says, we don't want people to gang up. So we're going to make you gang up on at least one spot every round. And I think that's great because it doesn't feel personal and it changes over the course of the game. And it's really great. It's also a very thin box for what it is, and it's filled to the brim. And it's always sort of like my go-to on like, why are freaking board game boxes so big? Just like you don't need all these miniatures. It could fit like if all my games were the size of Three Kingdoms Redux, like I could own so many more games. You know what I mean? It'd be great. But you're not listening, board game designers. Just I'm trying to buy more games, but I don't have space. So yeah, I think it's great, and it was definitely on both our lists because it's, again, everything at this point is pretty high on both our lists because they're above each of our unique number ones. So I'm really glad to see it over here at the Michael Jordan spot, number 23 game of all time. Moving on.
I was looking at our rest of the top 50 to see if there is any better game with 3 players from all these ones that we have mentioned so far. And I can only think of Hegemony, that it's excellent with 3 players.
Leave me alone.
Other than Hegemony, I think only 3 Kingdoms are done. It's an excellent 3 player game.
You know what a broken record is? You sound like a broken record. We get it. You like Hegemony. No, you like Blood in the Cactuar.
No.
You like Zendo. Let's move on with our lives.
No, I love many games, but Hegemony is good with 3 players. Others are not. I mean, I have mentioned many games.
And it should be mentioned, the 3 players Redux, 3 Kingdoms Redux is 3 players only. Not 1 to 3, not 2 to 3.
Exactly,
3.
yes.
There's no other way to play it.
That's important. You're right, yeah. Also, I wouldn't recommend Blood on the Clock Tower with 3 players. I want to say that.
Thanks.
I mean, you can do it, but...
Moving on to number 22 game of all time is a game that everyone we've played it with absolutely hates it. And the only 2 people that like it are Ipo and me.
Is this true?
Yes. Think about everyone we played it with. Basil said when he won it, he won, but he was angry all the way home and he didn't know why. Eugenio left the game halfway and started playing Samurai with the table next to us. Byron didn't care that Eugenio left halfway and went to play it. And like nobody we played with likes it except me and you, but we both love it. And that game is Pericles, the Peloponnesian Wars. Ipo, tell them why.
Haven't you played this game after these experiences? Haven't you played this in Canada?
No, not yet. But I would like to sell my friends here on it. So can you sell my friends on it in the next 30 seconds to 1 minute? Go for it.
Oh, okay. So it's a 2 versus 2 game with a twist. So basically, 2 partners are representing Athens, and the other 2 partners are representing Sparta during the Peloponnesian War in Greece, which was like 4th century BC. And in order to win the game, only one person wins.
Yeah.
And there is a military theater on the map where Athenians are battling Sparta, and the basic concept is that Sparta has an amazing army and you cannot defeat them, and the Athenians have an amazing navy and you cannot defeat them in the sea. But at the same time, the 2 partners are fighting each other in the city where people are voting, and
they're fighting each other politically, not combat-wise.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. That was the word I was missing. So politically, you're trying to get the votes and the support from your fellow Athenians or Spartans, and only if you win the war from that part of the winners, the one with the most political power wins the game.
Exactly.
And the game is designed so the actions you are taking are either in favor of your political career or in favor of your city in the war. Yeah. So you have this amazing dilemma every turn. Okay, should I kind of betray my city and not do an action for the war and just boost my support? Or should I be the patriot that I should be?
Yeah.
And
it's amazing.
Come second.
Basically, like every turn, there are these issues that you want to deal with, and you and your partner are taking turns to draft which issues you want to discuss and how much sort of political power you want to throw, how much influence you want to put behind that issue. And it's amazing because during that phase, like let's say I'm playing with Ipo, I hate him. like, with all my heart. I'm playing it, and I just hate him. And then you enter the phase where you're fighting, say, the Athenians if you're the Spartans. And me and Ipo are talking together, working together. Let's do this.
And we're
let's do
together,
that.
yeah.
And he's my brother in arms, you know? But then we go back to diplomacy, and I'm like, man, I fucking hate this guy. And by saying that, it's 2 versus 2, but only one person wins, should tell you if you like this game or not. Because if you're not okay with your partner being self-centered or selfish at times, if you're going to take that
or
badly,
schizophrenic,
or schizophrenic at times. But all in all, yeah, it's wonderful. Could not recommend it more, but I could recommend it more if that doesn't sound good to you. Don't play it. But if that sounds good to you, which was why I bought it, because it sounded so good to me, and it's lived up to that every time that I've played it. It's a keeper forever for me, Pericles. All right,
it's a design from Mark Herman, which is
Yes.
a famous designer, I guess, on war games,
That's
and
right.
it's genius, right? Like who thought about this? Like the guy's.
I believe it's part of the Great Statesman series. So there's like Churchill, Pericles, and now they have like Versailles and Congress of
Oh.
Vienna. These are newer ones, but
Interesting. And these are games I want to play. All of them.
there you go.
Churchill and Versailles and
Yeah,
okay.
Churchill's for 3 players, Pericles for 4, which is why I went for Pericles. And also, I got it really cheap because I bought the demo copy at Origins, so I got it for like $40. So I was really happy.
I really want you to play this game again and tell me how, because as you said, we have only played with people that like basically hated the game.
I'm just so happy
And
that I
I
have
want to
people
know-
in my life to like games that everyone else hates. So, oh man,
That's amazing.
all right. So for our last one today, Ipo's going to tell us, and this is the last one we know on the top 50. The rest will all be new to us. Our number 21 game of all time.
So from 2019 comes our number 21 game, Detective City of Agents. So this is basically a detective game, right? Like Sherlock.
So this game is basically like you can play in many ways. You can play it fully cooperatively, but I've never played it like that. I play the main way of playing it, which is where one person plays the chisel, who's like the nameless, faceless representation of the seedy underbelly of Los Angeles. And the other players play detectives, and they're actually competing to solve the crime. So they're not working with each other. So something has happened, a crime of some sort, and they're going around and they're questioning people or searching places. And then you are giving them the information where they search so that they can read it, and they put notes in their own little thing. The other thing it does, which is where the game gets brilliant, is when they go question people, you as the chisel can decide on the answer they give. You have multiple options, one of which is the most useful answer. So you could give the detective the most useful answer, or you could give them the less than useful answer. They can challenge that, and if they're right, they gain leverage over you as the chisel, which they can use later. But if they're wrong and they challenge you, you gain leverage over them, which means you can block them in the future from finding out the truth when you need to. So basically, it's this great game of like, as the chisel, you're trying to figure out when to tell the truth, when to not, the most useful information, when not to, when it's passable. And people are getting information, but they're not sharing it with each other because it's competitive. And it's set in this like LA noir situation. It's the best sort of like detective game other than Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective that I've played. And I really like being the chisel, and I really like being the detective. In both cases, it's quite fun, and we've had a pretty like balanced amount of wins between the chisel and not the chisel. Looking at it here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not true at all. We've had 4 wins by the detective and only 1 by the chisel in the last 5 times I've played it. So, but it's fun. And it's not like them against you as the chisel. Like only one person's going to win. So, it's a great game. It's got a great theme, and I've played it recently, and it lived up to everything I remembered. And I'm glad to see it on the list. I mean, obviously, this is a combined list. Like for me, Virgin Queen is higher than all of these, but yeah, it absolutely. I have no problem saying it's in the top 25, top 50 best games ever made, and I really enjoy it. And I know people. While I was there, we used to play it a lot, and we both really liked it. So I'm glad to
I
see it
have
up
never
here.
played the Chisel
Detective City
though.
of
I was
Angels.
always playing a detective, and I really want to have this experience and play the Chisel once and see how you can tackle the problem of so many people chasing you and trying to find what.
I have evidence that says contrary. The second
Really?
time we played the game, you were the chisel, and Dima and I were the detectives,
I
and I
have no
won the game.
recollection of that. And you won the game.
Yes, I did. It's
But the Chisel it's like more of like a storyteller rather than trying to play for
sort of.
yourself, kind of.
Yeah, but you're trying to get them to not solve the crime. Like you are a representation of the underworld and the criminal element of the city. Like you don't want them to solve it. Yes, you're not like actively trying to stumble because they have a way to like challenge that, but you want to give them information to the point that they think it's true. Like that is the most useful answer, but not give them the most critical parts of that answer. So, really good. Detective City of Angels, our number 21 game of all time, and has broken the spell of the last two episodes, in which we ended with two games I hated. We now have a game that ended in which I love. And,
What do you think
glad to see
of the
this.
replayability of this game? Like, how many scenarios are there?
I think it's high because there's a lot of cases, a ton of cases, and there's like 3 expansions, and each one gives you like 5 more cases. So I think you can easily get 20 games out of this plays out of this game, and if I can get 20 plays out of a game, it's worth it. I rarely get 20 plays out of a game, so
Yeah, totally agree.
there you go.
I agree on that.
So that's our number 30 to 21 of all time. The Great Zimbabwe, then tied Hegemony and Sekigahara, tied 1830 and Mage Knight, tied Blood on the Clock Tower and Virgin Queen, then Three Kingdoms Redux, Pericles, and Detective City of Angels.
I'm really
That
happy
brings
of
us-
this top 10. Yeah.
It's really good. It's top 10 if you want to call it that, but it's not. It's our 30
Sorry,
to
yeah.
21.
30 to 21, yeah. I mean,
So
I'm really cool, happy with these 10 games.
it's a really good set for sure. I like all of them, which I think is the first time I've liked every single one in the top 10. So that brings us to the end of this tabletop session. Thank you so much for listening, and make sure to follow us on Instagram or YouTube at Tabletop Sessions. Join the conversation, share a fun story of board game shenaniganism, and let us know your thoughts on our top 58 games of all time so far on our Board Game Geek Guild, YouTube, Instagram. And tune in on the next episode, episode 50, if for nothing, just to say hi to Dima, if you missed her. And she's going to give us her top 20 games of all time. And we're so excited because we don't know what it is. Because my number 1 is Virgin Queen, and that's already been passed. So is Ipo's with Blood on the Clock Tower. So who knows what's going to end up in the top 5. But we're excited to find out, and we look forward to it. You can find the link to all these things I talked about in the episode description. Find the links to the other episodes in this top 50 in the description. We'll be back in a month. And until then, to quote one of my favorite writers, God damn it, you've got to be kind. Say bye, Ipo.
Save money, people. Top 20 is coming. Bye-bye.
Tabletop, tabletop, top. Tabletop. Tabletop. Tabletop, top. Session.
Save money. Good advice on any part of any podcast. Oh, man.
The top 20 is coming.